Okay, I think it's recording. Hello, welcome to the Starting Point Idea of Brainstorm by iINVENT workshop. It's hosted by Mr. Abhi DhiYogi, and he will be presenting on how to turn an idea into reality.
Thank you. Can you all hear me and see me, or we're good with the connection?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everyone here on the TaroHacks, the hackathon. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this is going to be more interactive than just a one-way presentation. Before I kickstart, just a little bit about myself. My name is Abhi DhiYogi. I am the Chief Design Inventor at i-invent.org. And my responsibilities typically are about bringing ideas to life, be it in our company or with our clients, the best of the ideas. So this session or workshop, if you want to call it, or a brainstorm, is about how do you bring an idea to life, right? So if you ever thought about this, yeah, you go to school, you learn math, you go to, I don't know, a tennis lesson to learn tennis, right? But the concept and the science of how does one, catch an idea, grow it, plant it, etc. You never really think about it. But the cool part is everything you do begins with an idea, right? Be it, hey, you know what, let's hang out with friends. That's an idea, right? Let's build something, using Java, for example, that would help my neighbors maybe sell their old lawnmower. I'm not sure, build an app. That's an idea. So long story short, no one really thinks, hey, you know what, how does one get these cool ideas? How do we catch them and how do we build them? So over the last 20 years, I should say 20, about 12 plus years, I had the opportunity to travel the world and meet a lot of different kids in different age groups in different countries because we wanted to be, so as a company, we wanted to be a community of inventors. So we thought we should go and connect with all these people who have cool ideas. So every year I traveled for 3 months, 6 months, whatever it may be. And I met a lot of, I would say, cool people, right? Different kids, again, adults, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of them had cool ideas. Each one of them had a superb idea. So what that journey led us to was, if everyone has a cool idea, then what's missing, right? So with that said, I'm going to share my screen now. I hope you all can see this. Where is it? Here we go. So if the host can let me know if you all can share or if you can see my screen at this juncture.
Yeah, we can.
You can see it. All right. So do you see the TaroHacks students and community? How do you bring ideas to life?
I see myself.
Oh, you see yourself still. Okay.
We see the Zoom call on your screen.
Okay. So I have started sharing the app. I'm sorry, the screen of the. Hold on. Let me see what I can do here. Again, as you can see, we use WebEx, so I'm not too familiar with Zoom, but let me try this, yeah?
Maybe when you're selecting the recording options, make sure you select the entire screen rather than just the tab.
Okay. Let me try that. Your entire screen. Let's do that. Okay. How about now?
We can see it now.
Now you all can see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So there's a link that has been created for TaroHacks. So this will be shared by the host later so that you have, you know what, Abhi talked about something. So what was that, right? So everything is here of, the whole session, what we will be going through and what I just spoke about. That is, how do you bring ideas to life? So be it at school, home, or at work, right? So if you have parents along with you, this could be helpful for them as well. So who has had, an experience where they were browsing something or watching TV or even reading a magazine and you said, I had that same idea. Like you saw something cool, right? A gadget or an app or something. Has anyone had that experience where you said, I had that same idea? I'm going to wait for an answer, either yes or no from someone or the other.
There are answers in the chat and they're saying they have.
Okay, they have. Okay, so the host helped me out here. Yeah, so I'm going to be watching at this screen. I don't see your video, so I don't see that, but thank you. All right. So some people have had that, yeah, where you see something and you say, you know what? I had that same idea. So what happened to that idea? Have you ever thought about that? Did it just poof, uh, flew away, or did it melt, or what happened, right? We get those and it just, I don't know, just disappeared, I guess, right? Because now I'm about 40, I shouldn't say 40, nearing 50. And I can tell you, like, I still read something and I say, you know what, I had that idea and I never did anything with it. Okay. So the last 12 years, pondering over this question, what happens to these ideas that we get? And when do we get them? Usually, right? So that question or curiosity and this, having the opportunity to travel the world to meet innovative kids and others, okay, yielded into or manifested into what we now call our methodology and the science of how do we get these good ideas and how can we catch them as well, right? So we've all gone through this experience of getting good ideas, but they have disappeared for some reason. The first step is to know, hey, when do I get these ideas and how can I catch them if I get it? So step one, number one, right, is balance. And what does balance mean? Okay. As you know, now we are, I don't know, for us, we've been at home most of the time with the current COVID situation, right? Where we don't go out as much. And, life has changed, right? Compared to what it was a few months ago or 6 months ago, per se. So what is balance? So as times have changed, I've had to balance myself with, what I do throughout the day. And when about 3 months ago, right? So all of this started and I was working from home and I'm still working from home. And in a couple of, I would say it was about 2 months later, right? My wrist started aching and my hands, I've never had that. Okay. I thought I had the, what do you call it? Uh, is it carpet tunnel something syndrome, whatever, right? Where the wrist aches and the hands ache because you're too much on technology. And I talked to the doctor, and the doctor said, Abhi, you should be getting more outside into the sun, with vitamin D and then exercising a little bit more. Okay. So in the past, when I used to go to work, etc., I had the schedule, of going to work, coming back, then cycling or swimming, and then whatnot. I live in Chicago, so swimming is only in summers. But long story short, I had a better balance in what I was doing throughout the day. And with these changing times, I think I lost that balance, and I sort of started having the pain in my wrists and etc. So I'm just giving this as an example of what balance is, right? Balance is about balancing our time. Balance is about balancing our priorities. So, for example, in the past, I used to be traveling or I used to be at work, etc. So I used to balance my time with what I do at home. But now, being at home, I have to balance my time with, hey, you know what? How do I connect with my friends? Maybe through calls like these or in some other form of fashion. Uh, but long story short, it's about balancing, right? Our time and our priorities. So after I had this pain and whatnot, uh, I started exercising more regularly. And one of the things that the doctor or one of the what is it, physiotherapist or yoga person told me is to stretch my fingers like that, but in the reverse way, at least whenever I think I'm getting a little too much on the computer, I've spent too much time, just keep doing that, and it's helped me tremendously, right? So, long story short, uh, in these last 3 months, when considering balance, right, I've had to reprioritize and balance my time and priorities to what I was doing 6 months ago or 3 months ago. And because of this balance, right, um, ideas start coming to you. So, for example, let's say I'm stuck at work and I'm too focused on something. Um, my ideas don't come as much as hey, you know what, I go biking, I talk to a few friends, and then I'm coming home or driving, and suddenly poof, an idea comes. Or let's say I'm sitting at home, relaxed, just looking outside the window, sometimes an idea pops up. But I've noticed that anytime I'm too engrossed in only one thing, I don't get the ideas that I need, for my work or anything else. So, what is balance? It's about if you're watching too much TV or if you're on the phone a lot, maybe go out for a run, right? And if you're outside a lot, then maybe, spend a little bit of time on technology, right? With your friends, etc. nowadays. And if you're studying too much, then maybe exercise a little. And if you're playing too much, then maybe study a little. So it's all about balance. But what happens is when you balance, ideas start coming. So if you reflect back on yourself, right, especially with the times that we are in right now, you will see that anytime you balanced or there was a balance in your schedule and what you're doing, ideas started coming. And typically it was that time that you could catch these ideas. So the next step is, if you're balanced and then if you get an idea, just as long as you're not driving or, in handling any big machinery or whatnot, write it down or just record it on your phone or something, right? But ensure that you catch it. And how do you catch it? Make a note of it. Okay. So When you balance, you're going to get some good ideas. And when you write them down or when you note them through whatever device, technically you've caught the idea. And that brings me to the second part. So for the last, how many years now? Again, about 10 years, yeah? I have been, so I'm going to watch the video a little bit here. I've switched from the other screen, okay? Oops, sorry about that. There we go. So for the last, I would say 10 years, yeah? I have been writing down my ideas in my calendar, right? So every year on December 31st, this pop-up comes up as far as, the ideas that I had that I wanted to work on. So I had the idea of, building a home. Then I had the idea of writing a book, of having a road trip, different things, yeah? So anything personal or professional, what I've noticed is what I jotted down has always, somehow, I've worked on it and it's come true. So in order for us to catch an idea, yeah, whatever it may be, write it down. So that's the first step towards getting good ideas and catching it. Any questions so far? Or concerns? Or is this too boring? Okay, I'm going to look at the chat now. Okay, I don't have any messages there. So do the other folks also have the mic on, or they're muted at this juncture?
They have their mics currently off, but then if they want to add input, they can unmute or they can type in the chat.
Ah, okay. So they have the mic off. Okay. All right. So maybe we could have the interaction after the session is done or the presentation is done. Is that how it will work?
If people want to chime in now, they can chime in whenever they feel free to.
Oh, okay. Okay. So everyone on the in this workshop, feel free to interject or ask a question if you have any, right? Anytime, yeah? Because this is more interactive. So with that said, let me go to the, so if I share my screen again, entire screen, share, okay. Caitlin, just let me know if you see open up.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if you get an idea and if you write it down or note it down, you're going to catch it. But then, how do you work on these ideas, right? So as I, this is again 12 plus years of research in this simple, or what seems very simple, yet very difficult to practice, science. So writing down an idea, it's like catching it, okay? But then, how do you grow it, right? Or how do you enable that? And for that to happen, it's like, planting a seed, okay? So if you want to grow an apple tree, for example, you plant a seed or you get a tree, I guess, but that's a bad example. But let's say you want to grow a particular fruit and or a plant, and you plant some seeds, and then you water them, and then it starts growing. So in the same way, how do you plant an idea so that it starts growing? And that's a science in its own. And typically, that happens if you share your idea with others. And what does that mean? You might have an idea now. You all are part of this experience for the next 4 to 5 days or 6 days, I guess, a 1 week experience with the hackathon. And there's going to be a lot of collaboration. There's going to be a lot of, cool stuff that's going to emerge out of this. And all of that is going to be facilitated if you openly talk about it, discuss it. And in the area that we are in, right, or as a consulting firm, when we put forth this step about planting an idea, how do you plant it so you can grow it? And that's by opening up and sharing it, right? The one question that came is, hey, you know what? If I have a really cool idea and I share it, well, someone might copy it. Okay, that's usually a question that comes to us. And the answer is, hey, you know what? Someone made it, doesn't matter. Okay. But if you own the idea and if it came to you and you're passionate about it, and if you share it, it'll start growing and you'll be, at it. And why you will succeed is the next step, or whoever owns the idea. So by sharing, is there a risk that someone might copy it? Yes. But does that risk curtail your idea in any way? No, as long as you keep working on it. Okay. And as long as you own it and you're passionate about it, it's going to start growing. So how do you plant an idea? It's by opening up and discussing it and sharing it with others. It might be your family, it might be your friends, it might be your teachers, colleagues, or on a discussion like this, right? And that's what we're going to do after this presentation is over, is we're going to talk about your ideas and how they will change the world around you and for all of us. So that is what the interactive session is. After the step number 2, which is, step number 3, and which is the most critical step. With balance, we got some good ideas, and then we wrote them down and we caught those ideas. By opening up and sharing them with others, these ideas started growing. Well, we asked ourselves the question, well, can someone else copy it? And what are the risks, etc. And how do I enable this idea to grow? So if you're passionate about this idea, right, whatever it may be, what's going to happen is you're going to sometimes get some success and you're sometimes going to get some failures. But if you treat each result that you get, right, A or F or a win or a loss, as an experience and a lesson to improve upon what you were doing in regard to building this idea, right, or pursuing this idea, what's going to happen is you're going to start to see the idea starts growing. It's like magic. So anything that you pursue, remember that we're going to have ups and downs. We're going to have plus and minuses. The key is, can we see the lesson in every result? And if we get the art and science and the practice of seeing the lesson in every result, and then applying it to grow the idea that you're pursuing, what you will see is, boom, it's exponentially growing. And only you will know that. And when can you do this, right? So most of the participants are in the Bay Area, and you have, pretty cool and innovative companies all around you when it comes to technology. So, one of my hero was Steve Jobs. So he created, the iPhone, iPods, and whatnot. And if you read his book, again, he dwells upon, this one aspect of it, which is the most important aspect when it comes to growing an idea and becoming successful, which is it doesn't matter what happens, learn from it and then apply it to improve upon the idea. And that's how he was able to, he got kicked out of Apple, then he came back and whatnot. But long story short, throughout his life, he was able to grow the ideas that he pursued. So, with that said, there are only 3 steps for you to catch an idea or get some good ideas, to plan them, and then to grow them. So, with balance, we're going to get some good ideas, we're going to write them down, which is catching them. By opening up and sharing them with our friends, family, others, what we are going to see is we're going to basically planting them, just like a seed. And then as we pursue and build on those ideas, with every result, positive, negative, plus, minus, or win or a loss, right? We're going to learn from it and apply it to improve upon the idea. Those are the 3 steps that will enable you to become Steve Jobs or whoever your hero is. And these are the 3 steps that are followed. So if you read biographies, when you sum it up, these are the 3 key steps or practice that every successful innovator or entrepreneur or a leader or a person who's changed this world has pursued. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, or how do I do this? Or let me do it 1 second. Here we go. There we go. So I think you can see my video. Is that correct? I guess.
Your video?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, can you see me? I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And can you see the screen as well, which is, I think, right now, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Give me 1 second here. So we talked about balance, open, and learn. And then, Caitlin, are you saying what is a good idea, that screen?
Yes.
Okay. So the very first, and I would say, since we now know how to get good ideas, how to plant them, and then how to grow them, what is a good idea becomes a fundamental question, right? So I know we can't interact at this juncture, but what is a good idea if you were to think about it? Let's say, I ride motorcycles. So riding down a freeway at 140 miles an hour, I don't believe is a good idea. Or let's say I have a friend who encourages me to smoke. Well, that's not a good idea. What else? I mean, there's ample examples, right, of bad ideas. So what is a good idea? Okay. A good idea is one that helps you, that is, yourself. It doesn't harm you, right? That's the number 1 thing. Then that idea, when it grows to help others around you, be it your team, friends, family, and then it grows even further to help the environment or the world around you. So good idea is one that helps you to be healthy, to be good, to be successful, anything, right? Let's say you want to get a dream, I don't know, boat, home, X amount, or a position, whatnot, in your pursuit, right? Whatever that goal might be, it's a good idea because it's ambitious and you want to do something, right? But whatever you're doing, if it starts helping others, then that idea grows, okay? And it becomes even a better idea. And then that idea, when it starts supporting, let's say, your team, your community, and the environment around you, then it has, reached its potential of growth, and it's like magic. So, what is a good idea? An idea that helps you, others, and the environment. So after we discuss what Socrates said, we're going to talk about your ideas. That's when we get into a discussion. So, for the last, I don't know, what has it been, 30 minutes approximately? Yes. We've been talking about ideas, ideas, ideas. So is this something new? Well, not really. If you read, and you might have already, Socrates, right? His writings. Uh, this guy, or I shouldn't say this guy, he's this respected person. I don't know how to address him. So in Greece, by the way, I was in Greece, was it 2000, I think 17, yeah? My wife was just showing me on I think on Facebook, she was getting these memories, and we were in Delphi, in Greece, which is about 2 hours from Athens. And Delphi was considered the center of the world, okay? And there is the temple of Oracle. And the Greece, all these kings and the leadership gathered together and said, who's the wisest man in Greece, okay? And everyone said, it's Socrates who lives in Athens, and he's the wisest man in Greece and in the world. So the king summoned him, yeah? They said, all right, call him and let's talk to him. And that was, again, it was a, what do they say? Oracles, I forget the word, yeah? So the oracle predicted that, or that was a prediction by the oracle. So they invited Socrates to the temple in Delphi, and they said, well, supposedly you're the wisest person in Greece. And he said, I'm sorry, I'm not, okay? There are, I believe there are other wise people maybe, but I'm not a wise person, he said, okay? So they said, well, how can Oracle be wrong? And then you guys might have heard the story, and the girls also might have heard the story, but I'm going to reiterate this, just my version of it. So the king said Oracle can be wrong, so let's invite other esteemed wise people in Greece and see, what they have to say. And every person came in, yeah? And they asked them different questions, and, it was, long story short, an exercise that took months and months. And what they realized is all these people who came there, who claimed to be wise and smart, weren't actually wise and smart. And which meant Socrates, who admitted, hey, you know what? I don't know much, and I'm not a wise person, became the wisest man in Greece and in the world, because he said, well, I don't know much, I'm still learning, okay? So one of the quotes that Socrates says, right? The wisest man in Greece and in the world back then, and even now when you read his literature, he says most of the people discuss events, opinions, right? And other people most of the time. Very few people discuss ideas. And those who discuss ideas are the people who change the world. So that is what he has written. So when we talk about ideas, right? So COVID is happening right now, or, we're going through this, and we might look at numbers, say, what, this many people are infected, and this many people have died, and whatnot, etc., 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 right? But if you look at the idea that we can pursue out of this, and I'm just going to give this as an example, and just my perspective, is I think it's an opportunity for us to learn, how can we be even more healthier, right? Maybe more balanced, maybe have a better relationship with, those around us, with our loved ones, family, friends, and others, right? And finally, what can we learn from it? If we look at COVID that way, then suddenly it becomes, not so bad a experience as long as we maintain our health, right? And again, I know there are a lot of tragedies, etc., that might be happening. But per Socrates, what he recommended to his students was that discuss ideas. It doesn't matter what's happening, but discuss the idea and you will see a solution in it. So with that note, we're going to talk about your ideas, and I'm going to stop talking from here onwards so that we can hear a little bit about what you are planning to do during this hackathon, or what you've been doing in the past, or any imaginative pursuit that you're looking to pursue. It may be computer related, or it might be something else. So who wants to go first? And by the way, that's the end of the session. Huh? And this is now a Q&A. So I think, Caitlin, you should go first. You're the host and moderator.
Well, I'm not really competing in the hackathon, so I haven't been, thinking of an idea really.
Okay. But how do you, let me ask you this. As you grow up, right? What's your thought on how do you want to change the world or impact the world or contribute? Any pursuits, anything that you're interested in?
Hold on, let me stop recording this really quickly.